What's up?
Welcome back.
Thanks.
You mentioned that one of your points of emphasis this season is going to be details. What role do you think detail and precision plays for the success of this team, but especially in regards to fostering connection and trust?
Yeah, I think it's key, especially when you have this many guys on the team that can provide something each game, each practice. And that means less opportunity. So when you are out there, you have to take advantage of the time you have. So, and that's on the staff. We have to demand that. It's got to start tomorrow. I hate that we call this training camp. It's not. It's just 4 days of practice, and we play a preseason game. So we got to get going from the start. You don't have time to kind of build towards something. It's already started. So yeah, and I thought it showed last year in the 2 rounds, the Clipper series and the Thunder series, when we were detail-oriented, when we controlled the pace the way we wanted to, whether that's with, getting up and down at home or slowing down on the road. The Clipper Game 4 is a great example of that, where we were very detailed early. We controlled their crowd. So that's got to continue, and you don't have experiences like that unless you do it from the start. So like I said, it's not just on the players. We have to demand it every day.
Another one for you. Coaches have a lot of responsibilities they take on, have to wear a lot of hats. Leadership, communication, offensive strategy, defensive strategy. It seems to be most coaches excel at 1 or 2 and try to delegate some of the other ones. What parts of coaching do you think are your strong suit, and who have you kind of assigned specific duties to with your coaching staff?
Yeah, it's a good question. I did the offense for so long, I think it's probably a misnomer to say that that's all I've done. So doing scouts in the past, I think the defensive part of it, doing that during the playoffs was a great experience for me to get back to that. But, the staff was changed over this summer. Jared Dudley's a very talented coach. He'll take on the defensive responsibilities. And obviously Jared and I will work hand in hand with that. There's going to be guys underneath him, answering to him. And I think the hardest part of doing this as a new coach is understanding that delegation is so important. Because you can't do everything every day, and you got to trust the people around you. Bringing J.J. Barea in is a big deal for me. That's somebody that's seen it, done it, been through it. I know him well from the past. He'll be a great sounding board for me on the offensive side of it. And then all the guys we brought back, young, talented coaches, they're all going to take a step up. And I think that's the thing is, with a new staff, you have to let it happen. I can think something's going to happen. But just like players, things are earned. With opportunity, you got to take advantage of that. If you do, you get more opportunity. And that's how I'm going to approach it.
Players that prefer simplicity and understanding of what the expectations are and consistency there, but you try to put your own imprint on the team as well as changes in the roster and the coaching staff. How much are you planning on installing that's going to be new, whether it's a training camp or throughout the preseason?
Well, Jokic will post up still. Jamal and Nicole will play 2-man games still. I think some of the things you saw in the playoffs will be things we do this year, changing up our defenses more. And I think offensively, it's important to keep trends that have worked, but also be very aware that the league is changing and how people guarded us changed. And so that's where the things will be different. And I said this last year, and I hate saying it like I'm a cheerleader, but it's also the vibe. It's not just the X and O's. It's are you happy to be here every day? And I know some days are better than others. But I thought we had a good nature about us at the end of the season last year. And it's so easy to say as a player or a coach that you'll be unselfish this year because we're deep, but then to actually actively do it, I think that's going to be key. And so the schematic part of it, I'm very confident in the group I have down there and the coaching staff, very confident in the high IQ players that we have, that we added, and the guys are coming back. But there has to be a nature, a way about us every day just to get through those times. Because this conference is unreal, and we know that, and we're part of it. We're a problem. But we have to make sure that every day we're getting a little bit better, and it has to be a group effort.
Dave, when we last spoke to you, player development was at MVP for the organization. Since then, the front office has added some depth. I'm just curious if that equation has kind of changed for you at all in terms of how you look at the balance of the league's development.
Oh no, development is always, it's a constant thing, and I give our staff so much credit. This season ended, but it never ended for a lot of the guys downstairs. And they kept this gym alive. It's been crazy competitive. Guys have been in here, they've worked, they stayed in Denver. and you see improvement. But part of the NBA is competition. And yes, new guys come in, but those guys have been around this league for a long time because they were developed. And so it just breeds competition. If you want to keep up, you got to be in here and you got to work. So we'll continue to do that. But obviously, the nature of the beast with a veteran team is you also have to maintenance them and make sure they get through the season. And it's, it's one of those things where I can stand up here and say, like, we're gonna maintenance these guys as best we can, and we will. But the competition is going to be for real in the West. So there's a balancing act there that we have to, attend to. But I do think you're right. It never stops here, man. It's a fluid thing in the NBA. We know that. And I've been really proud of the guys that came back this year. Because I know right now all we're going to do is talk about who's new, and we should. It's exciting. But the guys that came back have really put something into this. And that's good to see, because I don't know what's going to happen. These guys have to go out there tomorrow, starting tomorrow, and earn their spots. Nothing is given here outside of the constants that have been here for a long time. So excited to see the competition.
David, you're in the far back.
Oh yeah.
How does
You're always in the far back, man.
How does it feel coming into your first full season as a head coach? You had the off-season conference whatever you want to do. What are the emotions like this year compared to every other year at the start of the season?
No different, other than I have to do this, to be honest. In the past, you're preparing for the first practice, how you're going to install things offensively, meeting with the staff, but instead you just have to communicate it to you guys. So that's different. And to be honest, this is all new for me, so I have no idea. So as we go through this step by step and go through the process, it's easier to answer. Kind of like last year, I didn't know going through the playoffs what it would be like for me. But I feel really good about the start because of what the front office did this summer. I thought the communication was great, with Josh helping them and obviously them reaching out to me, but they killed it. They went out and they provided things for us to be a better team. I'm just kind of going day by day with this thing. It's just like stuff at home. It's the same thing. So I'm excited to get going tomorrow though, man. I'm excited to see these guys put the jersey on and play.
Coach, you mentioned changing defenses. After you took over from Michael, the team played a lot more zone defense. I'm curious, have you always been a proponent of playing some zone? How much we might see that this year in terms of going up against other teams?
Yeah, I'm a proponent of playing zone when you can't play man sometimes. We played two really good teams, and I think some of these guys are so special as players. I said this during the playoffs, that you have to throw them different pitches. They have to see different things, and I think we can get better at it at bigger moments if we do it more consistently. That doesn't mean we're going to do it every game, but I do think it'll be an important part of what we do. And I think changing defenses, it's easy to say you can always do it with every team you have, but we happen to have a very high IQ team, as I said. So, that lends me to believe that we can do it. Teaching it's one thing. The players believing in it, being consistent with it is another. So it'll have to be a thing we work on daily, or times that we can try to be sharp with it. Because I saw some really good moments last year in the playoffs, rewatching those games, and I saw us struggle as well. So there's things we can clean up to make it better, and we have a whole season to do that.
I'm glad you brought up Adelman, because at the risk of oversimplification, I think you've got this job as the Bible. Retain this job because the Bible got much better. It's a long season. I saw a frustrated team when you took over. How do you establish maintain day to day, and how do you keep a team from getting frustrated and then you go through those inevitable tough stretches?
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty much the only thing we talk about when I meet with the players for the first time is how are you going to handle it when it's not your moment? And can you be consistent with wanting the team to do well? And I understand that part of sports is, individual drive, but to do something special, there's times where you have to take a step back and let somebody else take their step forward, knowing that if you stay with it and you work at it, your opportunity will come again. And if we can be consistent with that, and obviously I have to demand it, and like you said, words are words. Actions are what really matters. And I thought we took a step back in that department. And I thought in the playoffs, I thought guys were there for each other, but it's much easier to do that in the playoffs. Can you do that throughout the year? And I imagine, and I'm not going to speak for other coaches in the Western Conference, but we're not the only deep team in the West. And so I think a lot of teams are going to be dealing with that. Like how is your locker room sustaining through the season? Because that is so key. It's just about winning games. And if you can win games, then you get to the fun part, everybody buys in, So I could demand it with my voice, but I think it's up to the players too. I think they have to show some leadership. It's not just the coaching staff that changed here. Leadership in that locker room is changing. And guys aren't here anymore. There are veteran leaders. Our veteran leaders are now the fun guys used to watch play. It's Jokic, it's Murray, it's Gordon, it's Christian. Those guys have to step up, and they have to demand that from the locker room as well. That's not a cop-out. That's just the truth. Your best players have to demand what the vibe will be daily. They can't go into a shell and only worry about how they're doing throughout the season. They have to maintenance their team as much as I do. And that'll be a group effort, but it'll be my job to manage that through the year to get the best result possible.
David, kind of building on that, John shouted out Jamal, who was communicating with him, kind of getting people involved over the summer. What did you see from Jamal in that aspect, and how many of you think
I don't know. I mean, I guess everybody changes yearly. Sometimes more positively, sometimes more negatively. Jamal had an amazing summer. He looks good. I think mentally he's great. I give him so much credit in Los Angeles. The guys got together. A voluntary action to come play in LA and just kind of get a feel for one another. But it's not just about getting on the court together. It's about going and hanging out, grabbing something to eat, possibly a drink. So it was good to see Jamal take the lead on that. And it's always cool to see when the veteran guys, involve the two-way players that were there, that they have no relationship with. And that's key. And it's going to be key this week as well. As much as I want to see competition, who stands out with this group and who's going to earn the minutes, it's almost more important they get together and get to know each other. And the second things become cliquey in life, things suck. And so we have to make sure that we are not that group, that we're consistently together, hanging out together, not going into our rooms and shutting the door and never talking to each other until we get to the court. That's a big deal to get through a long season and a really talented conference.
Hey, David, back. Obviously, it was sprint when you took over to try to get through it. But beyond talking to your dad, I know you talked about TV and other stuff. Have you talked to Michael Malone at all this summer? What other coaches, head coaches, or those who have long relationships? Did you reach out to them? How you want to approach it?
Yeah, I mean, Coach reached out when I got the job officially, just to congratulate me, which is really cool. It says a lot about him. I've had relationships with Spo for a long time, and I kind of go back to the people that taught me the game, and those are the people that kind of gave me the standard of what I think it should be like, and so I kind of stay in that vein. But then beyond that, I think I'd say every coach in the league, like you're constantly exploring and trying to educate yourself through film. And so maybe that's not a conversation with them, but you're learning from them. And anybody that says that they're just going to stick to what they do every year is probably not going to succeed. And our league is just constantly changing and adapting. I even had guys, our video guys, look at stuff from 15 years ago, different coaches, late game plays, late game ideas. So, constant education is what this is all about, and you have to humble yourself and realize that what you really knew a lot about one day may be outdated the next, and that's really important to stay there always. Always be actively aware of what's changing and get better from it.
David, just to follow up on Jamal, the trend with him has been slow starts to seasons and then sort of growing into it and catching his stride at a certain point. Has there been anything that you've emphasized to him, or that you've sort of emphasized to him in terms of trying to sort of buck that trend?
I think the best way to buck trends is not to think about what happened before, and that what happened before already happened, and this is a completely new thing. So it's that's how I see it. I mean, you learn from everything in life, but sometimes part of learning stuff is forgetting about it and moving on. I think for him, this is, like I said, a completely different year. new teammates, new locker room, a new chance to lead differently. And I think from what I saw this summer, he has a lot of momentum going that way. And I want to make sure that it's not Jamal's start, it's not just about Jamal, it's about how the team starts. We have to find ways to win games early. The schedule's tough. And every year you think the schedule's really hard because every year you have no idea what teams are going to be like. But it sure as hell seems hard from looking at it. And I think the most important thing is just team success, the wins and losses. And, Jamal's success will come with team success, in my opinion.
You guys acquired Cam Johnson, who's really solid.
I'm more than solid, man. Yeah, go ahead.
How do you plan to integrate him into the team and what do you see his role being?
I think the brilliance of Cam is that he won't have to be. I think he just plays the game the right way. He fits the style that we've played over the years. He's another ball handler. Excuse me. I think in Brooklyn, they didn't win a lot of games, but he had the chance to put the ball in his hand a lot, where I thought in Phoenix, he was kind of a 2-dribble, 3-dribble max guy, and for good reason. Devin Booker, Chris Paul, that team was incredible. So the Brooklyn experience for him, I think, worked out, and it worked out for us because we get a guy. We talk about player development. Sometimes player development happens in games and different teams you play for in different seasons. Cam's an exciting, add. He's just such a high IQ basketball player. And on that note, I never really got a chance to say this, but for Michael Porter, man, Michael Porter won a championship here, and trading him was good for us financially. Got a good player back, all those things, flexibility. Mike was incredible for us, and over the years he spent here, what he went through with his body, what he gave to the city of Denver, and what he's given to social media right now is something. So we're going to miss Michael, miss the uniqueness of him, and just remember that everybody that moves on from this, there's a banner hanging in that gym, and he was a big part of it.
You mentioned the depth as being a big thing that you're having to figure out this season. One of the other things that's been consistent for this team is the struggle with the bench, particularly in the non-Nicole minutes, and even some of the Nicole minutes last season. What is your approach going to be for building out the plan for the bench to try and mitigate some of those problems?
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest challenges at camp, because I'm not worried about how the starters are going to flow together. It's just trying to find the right group with that second unit. And I really mean this. It's a shame that it's only 4 days and then 2 games, and you get off days because you got to travel, and we got to figure that out. We got to figure out what group works the best together. And then there's the next layer of that is which starter can flow back in with that group and be successful. And it doesn't have to be Jamal or Nikola. It can be a Cam. Maybe Cam flows well with Tim, and and Valanciunas, and who plays well with Jonas. That's key. I'm not going to forget that Jalen Pickett played really well at the end of the season last year. Peyton Watson's minutes in the playoffs. So it's not just the additions, it's who plays the best together. And that's the great thing about depth is you get to find out, but the hard part about depth is you got to have an opportunity to see it play out. We can't do what we've been doing these last couple years. I mentioned this in the playoffs. I think the last time we really had a solid go-to bench guy was DeMarcus. And it was a short period of time with us, but a guy you can really play through. So we got to find a style. That's up to me. I have to give them a system, a stylistic way of playing. Is that a high-level defensive team that turns people over? We play through Jonas in the post. We have catch-and-shoot players, that we didn't have before. So it's up to me. I got to find the right group that flows well together, because that's a key. You're right. We can't be minus 12 every night in those minutes. It's just a killer. And we rarely blew people out because of that. And when you do that, you run your guys into the ground. And then the playoffs come and you're back playing guys 40 minutes a game. That just can't be the case, and that's up to me.
Coach, on that note, you guys added Jonas this summer. It's an important kind of change, I guess, stylistically for the backup center position that's had different guys in the past. Just what are you excited about with Jonas when you use him? And is there a possibility that you use Jonas and Nicole together?
Yes, I think what he brings to us is a go-to post-up player, proven commodity, incredible offensive rebounder, Very underrated dribble handoff guy, can play second side. I thought he really did a good job. I know a lot of people didn't watch Sacramento play at the end of the season, but when Sabonis was out, he filled in, and they ran their offense the exact same way, which is a major compliment, because we all know how good Sabonis is. So, no, we're going to play through that guy. I have to push the limits of what he can do. I think there's things that maybe he wasn't allowed to do with other teams that he can do with us. And just having a solid veteran player that's played in enormous games is a big deal. And then, to answer your question, those two guys will play together at certain points. I think changing defenses allows that. I'd like to see how people guard those two guys. I think that'd be a very interesting decision of who you put on who. You put a smaller guy on Valanciunas, he's going to completely destroy him on the offensive glass, and we all know what Nikola can do, shooting the three and spreading the floor. So you can do different things, those two guys. And that's back to the earlier questions. That's the whole idea of unselfishness. If I'm going to play those two guys together, sometimes someone's not playing, and they got to be okay with that if that leads to wins. Yeah, we have to exasperate the roster, see what we can do with it. It's nice to have depth, and it's more fun to try things and see what they do, with respect to how other teams can deal with it.
How would you talk about the veterans work and the locker room? Over the years, we've seen glimpses of speeches and celebrations in the locker room. How would you describe your communication style?
My communication style, it matters the situation. I mean, I think I get along with the guys. I don't know what they say about me when I'm not in the room. I would say, kill them with sarcasm and kindness in film sessions. No, I don't know. I haven't gone through the whole season. Back to the question about the 82 games. I've never done that. I've talked to the team every day during a regular season, but this will be a learning experience for me too as we grow together as a group. So it's not about an individual in that room. It's about how we all come together, how cohesive we can be. My voice is a part of that. The assistant coaches' voices are a part of that. And like I brought up earlier, the players' leadership and their voice is a part of that too. So I'm just part of this. Excited to be part of it, excited to get going, but probably a question I can answer easier as the season goes on.
How about the training camp? What sense did you get from the group's energy so far?
I've seen about 80% of the group so far. Obviously, we had guys playing in Eurobasket who I have not seen since the end of the season and/or new players. But the group in LA was great. This gym, like I said, I know media's not in here for the most part, but it was high level in here. One, I think the guys like each other, but the other part of that is I think everybody senses what this is, and competition is for real here. That led to a lot of time together, and that's a good thing. Competition's a good thing. Guys getting along is a good thing, but like I said, you have to maintenance that throughout the season. You can't go solo. You can't go out on your own. Got to stay together throughout. Thanks, guys.